Well, it was a fan's dream maybe to have Lucas Paquetá signed for Newcastle United, but Keith Downey has just put on X that there is no chance, there is no interest at all in Paquetá from Newcastle United. Let's go. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Toon Review for your latest news video. Now, a lot of people in the chat on this morning's breakfast show were saying Lucas Paquetá would be a good option for Newcastle United for the money that he's probably available for. They're talking around £30 million. Would that be a good deal for Newcastle United? However, Keith Downey has just put on social media that Newcastle United have no interest in Paquetá. Nothing from the football club. Now, I see what's going on here. There is a lot of fan chat on social media regarding Paquetá, and I think that's all the rumours have been drummed up by fans' response to saying, let's go and get Paquetá. You know, I've seen a few YouTube channels as well talking about Paquetá, you know, in our chat this morning as well. So it's mainly fan-driven for Paquetá, but there is no interest from the club at all to bring Paquetá to Newcastle United. Now, this surprises me in a way because I think West Ham have made it quite clear that they are interested in selling him. They would be open to a sale. He's, of course, had his problems, but found not guilty in the court case, of course, which has helped him a lot. And for me, £30 million outlay on somebody like Paquetá would be a bargain. Take away the fact that he's Bruno's best mate, I think he would fit into the club very well. And he's a player that we could use. He can unlock defences, etc. However, it's pointless talking about him because it ain't happening. Keith Downey has put on a couple of times now on X that it's not happening. There's no interest from Newcastle United regarding Paquetá. However, one player that is starting to maybe create a little bit of a rumble, and that's Rudoni at Coventry. Now, he has been mentioned on our channel quite a few times. He was slightly linked, I guess, to the club a few weeks ago or when the window first opened. But now the fact is we are looking for a midfielder. We are actively looking for a midfielder because we have to replace Sean Longstaff. Not just replace him, but make sure he's a better player than Longstaff that comes in. You know, it's pointless just replacing like for like. Now, Rudoni has had some fantastic feedback from a lot of people in the Championship last season. Plays at Coventry, of course. And he's very, very attack-minded as well. If anybody saw him in the playoff semi-finals against Sunderland, you probably didn't see the best of him, to be fair. But he is possibly available. Now, Frank Lampard's had a bad start as Coventry City manager at the weekend, and he's made a call to bring players in. So these rumours about Rudoni will not have gone down well with Frank Lampard today. But I suppose when you've got a player like Rudoni, a real talent there, you're going to get the Premier League boys knocking on the door. That's just the way it works. Whether he likes it or not, he should know what it works like being in the Premier League for so long. But this midfield situation is something that does need looking at. Of course it does. I think we're trying to get the striker situation sorted out with a matter of urgency. Of course, Chow looks like he's going to be signing today if all goes well with his medical. And then we will turn to strikers. Nothing on Vissa this morning so far, and into the afternoon. There's nothing regarding Nicholas Jackson as well. It's mainly just fan talk going on across the social media platforms at the moment. Just wondering where our next move might actually be. I'm convinced that Newcastle United will sign at least two strikers. You know, we found it very difficult this transfer, haven't we, this window? It's been a very, very frustrating one with players that we're linked to disappearing. But we know we can't keep these links quiet. It's impossible because the agents put it out there that Newcastle have come knocking or an other club has come knocking, which creates that domino effect for transfers. And it's the same with this one. You know, if we say that we're interested in Rudoni or we say we're interested in Vissa, apparently Liverpool were interested in Vissa, but he said no to them because he wants Newcastle. I don't know how true those stories are. However, I think Vissa's made it quite clear all through the weeks that he's been linked with the transfer that Newcastle United is his preferred and one and only destination. He's not interested in going anywhere else. And for me, that bodes a lot, given what we've seen in the transfer window. We've actually got a player there who wants to sign for Newcastle United, who wants to come in, who wants to play for Eddie Howe. We haven't seen that with certain other players in this window, so why not just go and get him? Give Brentford whatever they're asking for. Because it's now, we're at the time of this transfer window when we have to take a step back and say, look, we need players in the door. We can't afford to go in with low ball and offers just to try and get players in on the cheap. It doesn't work anymore. And that's been proved time and time again in this transfer window, that it simply doesn't work. You have to go and give what the players are valued at. We're doing the same with Isak. Isak is worth £150 million. We've said to Liverpool, take it or leave it. You know, you offer what he's worth. Don't lowball us with 110 million and think we're going to sell him to you, because that's not how it works. I do believe, however, if we do bring in a couple of strikers, that Alexander Isak will leave the football club. For me, I don't see a way back. I've said that many times on the live shows as well. I just don't see a way back for Alexander Isak, unless by some miracle he issues an apology, welcome back into the fold, and he gets his head down and starts scoring goals. But I don't think that's going to happen. I genuinely believe Liverpool are waiting to make I don't know whether last minute is the right words to use, but certainly towards the back end of the transfer window, preparing another bid, or they're just keeping an eye on Newcastle at the moment as to who they're going to go for. And if we do bring a couple of strikers in, Liverpool will then strike with a renewed bid. And I do think when that renewed bid comes in, by the way, that we let him go. I think he's a very bad apple and needs gone out the football club. I've said that many, many times. But the midfield, I think, has been slightly overlooked, hasn't it? Because we know that Willock's out. There's reports 4 to 6 weeks. Some are saying 6 to 10. You know, we need another midfielder in there. Miley looks really good this season. Let's not get that wrong. Miley looks really good. But the fact is we've had to put a couple of defenders in each of the Cellar Cup games into midfield. And that there says the problem. When me and Stato put up the squad list, the whole squad up on the screen the other day, everybody sort of was sort of shocked, and it hit home to everybody just how much of a problem we have in midfield should we get a couple of injuries or suspensions. You know, we are very lightweight in that midfield department. Now, the John McGinn thing's gone very, very quiet. He was mentioned last week, of course, as well. But we need somebody else in there. I am really surprised, guys. I have to say, I'm really surprised we're not looking at Paqueta for the money that he'd probably be available for. But Keith Downey's got his ear to the ground. He's got some good contacts within the football club. And if Keith says that we're not interested in him, then I would believe Keith over a lot of other journalists out there, to be honest. So Newcastle United not interested in Lucas Paquetá. Are you surprised by that? Would you have Lucas Paquetá at Newcastle United? Or have you maybe got your eyes on another midfielder that you would see playing for Newcastle? Is McGinn an option? I know he's a lot older, but also there's Radoni at Coventry City. Very, very highly thought of. Would you bring him in? Or is there an midfielder out there who maybe hasn't been mentioned yet that you would go and look at? Because I think midfield has kind of been overlooked because of the striker problem we've got. And it's clear as day for everybody. When you look at our squad now, and you look at the midfielders that are available, we're 1 or 2 injuries away from a serious crisis in midfield. We've got the 3 who will probably start, which is Joe Linton, Bruno, and of course Sandro Tonali. But God forbid anything happens to those guys, we are in the shit, guys. We're in midfield. So although we're in the shit at the moment with a striker, we also need to tackle midfield. And time is running out. Which is why I'm surprised they're not really looking at Paqueta. I have to say, it's a big shock to me. But there it is. Let me know, as usual, in the comments what you think of all that. Who would be your preferred midfielder to come in? Do you think we've overlooked midfield with all the chat going on about the strikers? Or are Newcastle inside the club well aware that there is a problem in midfield should we not recruit? But thank you very much for watching the video. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit the like button. And of course, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Free to do so. All we ask is that you hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. We're back tonight at 7 o'clock for the live show. Again, we'll be looking at Chow. We'll be looking at the latest news and see if there's any breaking news, certainly within Newcastle United's foundations. Tonight, if anything really does break, massive news, we'll be back with you as soon as we can with that as well. But thank you very much for watching. We'll see you later. Take care.